Hi, all. Welcome to Sundays with Spirit. It is a place where we gather together to lift our hearts, let go of our worries. Together we rise in love. For those who don't know, my name is Amanda, and I've been with the Power of Love Ministry for about 2.5 years. And my intention today is to hold a space of love, healing, a sacred space of non-judgment. So let's start with a prayer. So let's take so Lana, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Amanda.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we place our hand on our heart, just so grateful for this opportunity to join together, grateful for this opportunity to partner up with higher Holy Spirit self, and grateful to know that we are as holy can be. We are offering up thoughts of lack and limitation. We're offering up all past learning that no longer serves our life of love. We are dedicated to being a loving and beneficial presence on this planet. We bless this session, the speaker, the host, the musician, and all those supporting in the background, trusting that our time together will be a healing time and there will be a ripple of love as we go through our day and our week. We are awakening to our true identity and the true identity of our brothers and sisters. We are one in love eternally. And for this and all the blessings we receive this day, we're so very grateful. In the name of our beloved I Am, we know that it is done. We let it be. And so it is. Amen.
Amen, amen. Thank you, Lana. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So today we have a musical guest, Ray, and I don't see him on the screen yet. So let me just do a shout out just to see if he's somewhere that I don't see his name. Well, we all experience life challenges and technical difficulties sometimes. So, Lana, if you see Ray join, will you just take yourself off mute and give a shout out if I don't notice?
I sure will.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And also, thank you. And Faith. So, Faith is our guest speaker today. Let me take a moment to introduce her. So Faith has been a regular on Sundays with Spirit. I've seen her many times as actually doing the music for us and spoken in our Facebook live chats. What she has to say always just grounds me in spirit. So I'm so thankful that she is here with us. And I'm going to take a moment to read her bio. Faith started playing guitar when she was 10 years old and knew from then on she wanted to have a career as a musician. She was really scared to sing, but her guitar teacher insisted that she sing along with the songs she was playing. She probably ended up playing and singing every Beatles song ever written. Faith studied music at DePaul University and then started her long career as a professional musician. She has been the director for Agape's International Sundays evening service for 15 years and has also served as a choir director for Reverend Jesse Burns' Inspired Spiritual Community Choir, Inspired Voices. As a member of Agape's International Choir, she shared the stage with legends and greats, including Earth, Wind, and Fire, David Foster, and Carl Anderson. She had the pleasure to perform for and share the stage with speaking icons, Marianne Williamson, Deepak Chopra, and Michael Beckwith. Faith loved singing so much, she began to help others learn to sing and forming her own coaching studio in LA. The Artist Voice in Studio. And Faith, I know that you do more than just coaching singing. I've I've seen on your website and heard you talk about helping speakers and have a presence on stage. And that isn't in your bio, but I would love just to hear a little bit about that.
Yes, Amanda, thank you. Yes, I work with people on speakers and entrepreneurs and people with a message, anybody who wants to get in front of their audience. It could be media personalities, but in our community, many times we have a message we want to get out there. And so I help them to be able to develop their speaking and their voice and their confidence when they get out in front of people. Also in my bio, because that's actually my music bio, but which is fantastic. I guess I didn't give you another one or add to it, but I was the co-facilitator for the Sunday night evening services at Agape as a spiritual practitioner. I've been a spiritual practitioner there since 2003, licensed spiritual practitioner, and I'm also a certified life coach through Mind Valley and a certified mindfulness and meditation trainer. And been involved with Reverend Jennifer and this community for many, many, many years. I first met Reverend Jennifer back in Agape, probably back around 2000, before I was a practitioner, probably early 2000s that we've known each other and worked together. So I'm really grateful to be here. I also have a master's in speech pathology and voice therapy. So I work with counseling and things of that nature too with people in that instance. My varied background. But today I'm here and I don't know what happened to Ray. You don't see him at all here, huh? Maybe he got his wires crossed this morning. It does happen occasionally, doesn't it?
It does happen. This is real life, and that's okay. I know someone on our staff is reaching out to him.
Oh, good. Excellent.
Yeah. So
Great.
I know that is happening behind the scenes, but we will move on.
Okay. And we had that wonderful song. My soul sings out to you, my love. My soul sings out to you. My soul sings out to you, my love. My soul sings out to you.
Wow, that just gave me the chills. And you have such a beautiful voice, and those words just resonate so deeply as well.
Oh, Susan J. Paul. Actually, I have a one of her artwork here. Some Reverend Jennifer Russell gave me this to me as well, Jennifer Russell, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's a beautiful heart.
Yeah.
And Susan passed several years ago, but I still keep this in her song in my heart. So we have a little music. Maybe if Ray doesn't show up, I'll try to see what I can do to fill in, or someone else out there in our community that wants to share a song with us. We could do an improvised service here as far as the music, but hopefully Ray will show up because he's an amazing, amazing soul and music inspiration.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk today. Is it time for me to go ahead and speak?
Yeah, let's just pause for a minute for whatever is happening in Ray's life right now. Let's just all send him some love. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Let's just all send Ray some love. Yeah, that feels good.
It really does.
That feels good.
Thank you.
So, Faith, let's move on to your message.
Okay. So last week, Suzanne Finder was our guest speaker, and she spoke about emotions, and I was very, very moved and inspired by what she spoke about, because a lot of my work that I have done as a coach and a teacher has been around the emotional life and how important it is for us to feel our feelings within our life, feel them in a way that empowers us. And I am in the middle of writing a book, and I have a whole process around it. So it was really great for me to hear that. And I wanted to continue that conversation. I also was online and on YouTube and saw a beautiful talk by David Hoffmeister. And what he said, one of the things he said was, not expressing your feelings is an inhibitor to awakening to love's presence. So that really got me thinking and inspired, and I wanted to talk a little bit more about our feelings. Now, I've been studying metaphysics since I was a teenager. I discovered the science of mind teachings of Ernest Holmes when I was 25 years old, and it changed my life. I loved studying these ideas in the science of mind classes that I was taking, and reading and studying all kinds of spiritual books, from the Bhagavad Gita to A Course in Miracles and many, many other spiritual books and readings. And like a lot of us, I find it easy to get into spiritual concepts and ideas. I truly love studying about God and about the metaphysical ideas, and I am a self-confessed quantum science physics nerd. I'm probably not the only one out there. What I have come to know, though, through all of my study, is that concepts and ideas alone do not open the door to awakening to love. Now, concepts can direct the mind to believe that we can live a more peaceful and loving, awakened life. But we often find in our own lives that we're not being so peaceful and so loving. And I feel most of the time that I am pretty peaceful, pretty loving. I walk this talk. But a couple of months ago, in my neighborhood, there was a Federal Express truck that was blocking my street. And I was late to be somewhere, to what I consider to be an important appointment. Now, the driver was nowhere in sight, and I was feeling really frustrated more and more as time went by, and I started honking my horn. And when the driver finally showed up, she started yelling at me that I was honking. And so I started yelling back. And we got into a big argument. And it was not pretty. I'm arguing, I'm swearing at her. I mean, just not, I was having an out of body experience, basically. Now, why does this happen? I don't know. Has anybody else ever been there where you kind of lost it on the phone with somebody, or, with your kids, whatever it is, right? Everybody's going, yeah, I've been there. Now, our egos will try to keep our emotions hidden from us. Why? Because our emotions are the gateways or signposts to what we're really feeling and thinking. And I was feeling a lot of things that day that I wasn't acknowledging. First of all, I was probably angry at myself for not giving myself enough time for the appointment, and I was late. And I had made this appointment really important in my mind. So important that I would sacrifice my peace and loving well-being. So emotional shutdown, which is what I called what happens to emotional shutdown, and then it erupts in a way that we don't want it to. Emotional shutdown and not allowing ourselves to feel and express our true emotions happens for everyone. Almost all of us are muting our feelings because we're simply too scared to feel them full out. So what do? We have all these compensatory things that we do. We drink too much. Maybe in this community, that's not true, but it could be. Have 2 glasses of wine instead of 1, or take drugs, or whatever we do to let go and have fun. And we demand, and we see all the time, that movies and television increasingly stimulate us more and more and more for the need for adventure and for entertainment. We use our social media, obviously, to vent our feelings and share ideas that probably aren't so empowering, or maybe we think they're empowering, but we want other people to feel and do what we want them to do. So we share those on social media. So we're not allowing ourselves to fully feel sadness, anger, joy, love, frustration, even compassion and loss. We're just not allowing ourselves to fully feel it because it's kind of scary to feel the ones that we say are a little negative or we don't want to feel uncomfortable. So we mute those. And so what do? We mute everything. Now, I remember when I was a child, and maybe you remember this too, how easy it was to express your feelings. For me, I was pretty little when that was going on. Do you remember that when you were sad, you just cried? And when you were angry, you screamed. And when you were happy, you just laughed out loud. There's nothing more beautiful than being around a bunch of kids who are just laughing because they're joyful and happy. But how many times have you seen adults do that? Not very often, unless they've had maybe, a couple of glasses of wine or whatever, and then they feel free enough to do that. Now your body, when you were a kid, instantly responded and naturally to what you were feeling, and there was no problem. But do you remember the first time your parent or a sibling or a teacher or another adult told you to stop crying? You remember that? Stop crying. Or when they told you to stop getting mad. Don't get mad. Don't get mad at your brother. Stop crying. Right? I remember that. Anybody had that experience? Yeah. And our parents are just trying to have a joyful life. It's not easy to take your kids to out to dinner and they're all crying or screaming and yelling. And so we parents are teaching the kids to mute their feelings. But sometimes what happens is it's not just in a situation like out to dinner, but it's all of the time. And we often want to avoid feeling uncomfortable emotions. So we deny these feelings or we try to mute them in some ways. But these muted feelings will still stay in our body. That's what happens. They stay in our body because we haven't expressed them or we're muting them. And they actually clog up the emotional flow that is natural for us. Now, as adults, we want to feel that we're in control, don't we? Like, I want to feel that I'm in control. I don't want to go to the bank and start crying. But then I go, if I'm really sad, and I get a tear in my eye out in public, why do I want to stop that? If I am speaking today and I feel emotional, do I want to shut that down? That's a really great question to ask ourselves. So we don't really like feeling uncomfortable, and sometimes emotions make us feel that way. So we have an emotional system that is stagnant, stale, and toxic. We've been conditioned and trained to shut down our feelings for a long time now. And of course, in this last couple of years, what we've been through is that we are all, I know that I have felt that way. I've really kind of like, I don't want to feel these feelings that are coming up. So I'm just going to just pretend like they're not there. No wonder our bodies don't want to respond, and they don't want to respond and give us the messages. Hey, I'm feeling sad today. Hey, I'm feeling angry right now. But here's what I know. It's impossible to feel really, really good and feel those good feelings when we stuff down the bad feelings or undesirable feelings. For example, it's impossible to actually feel powerful and safe and loved when we're sitting on anger or rage or resentment that is unexpressed. Now, I use that word sitting for a reason, because our emotions, what I found, are correlate to our chakra system. And in the root of our root chakra is our center for power and safety and security. And when that's flowing, that's what that feels like. We're in that safety, we're feeling powerful. But when it's not, for whatever our messages that we're getting from our environment or our thoughts, we're not feeling safe or powerful, we shut that down. It's as if the whole energy source just goes like that. And it happens in the root of our spine right there. And what that is, what that clogged up, very tight energy is the emotion of rage, resentment, or anger. Because I don't feel safe. Think about road rage. Someone cuts someone off, they don't feel safe. They don't feel powerful at all. So what happens? This unexpressed rage that's at the root of the spine, they're sitting on it, aren't they, in their car, just erupts. Now, both of my parents passed away in 2018, and I went through a process, and I'm still going through a process of releasing any feelings of blame and shame in my life around my parents. I deeply love them both. And forgiveness has been the key that has allowed me to open my heart wider. And I'm going to tell you about that process right now, what happened for me. True forgiveness is not just saying, I'll forgive you. It really requires acceptance. In my own life, I experienced the grace of true forgiveness when I finally released my expectation as how love was supposed to show up in my life. Now, for a good part of my life, my relationship with my mother was really difficult. We were very different. I felt like she never really got me, who I was, and I never really felt very close to her. She could say, some what I would consider some pretty mean things to me, and she seemed to me to be selfish a lot of the time and only thinking of herself, caring mostly about getting her own needs met. Now, I remember my mother telling me that she didn't want me to feel sad. She told everyone, and I heard her say this, that I was the happiest little girl and so easy to take care of, which really was not that true. My mother had 4 kids, and her hands were full. She was going through a separation with my father, and she was overwhelmed and taking antidepressants. And she just was really having a hard time. And I wanted to make her happy and take care of her. So I learned that if I faked my happiness, that she would be happy, that she would feel better. Now that helped me to become a strong-willed child and teenager. And I knew I could get through anything. And it wasn't that bad a thing to have that, sense of I can get through anything, I can survive. But it also made me afraid to be vulnerable. Now, I want to say this about my relationship with my mother. Of course, that's how I experienced our relationship. And her experience was probably very different than what I was feeling at that time. But for me, it was very painful. And I was denying my feelings about my mother, how I was resenting her through my life. I was feeling angry, and I never would express that. I was shutting down, and I was getting into several disempowering relationships with men because I was looking for someone, to accept me and to love me. And even though I was studying the course and I was meditating and taking spiritual classes, I still hadn't dealt with my feelings, because here's what I found. One of the things that happens in spiritual communities is that we're often taught to change or to stop expressing our negative or bad feelings. Anything like resentment, fear, even sadness. That we can be taught that a spiritual person does not get angry. They're always loving and peaceful. Well, that obviously wasn't working for me. So I finally sought out some help, and I found a therapist, and I went through 2.5 years of psychotherapy, trying to understand and accept that my relationship with my mother was the key to this heavy burden that I was carrying around all of my life. I felt like, that I could never really be vulnerable because of it. And it took a long time for me to uncover my feelings. It took 2.5 years. And after I did that, I still didn't know what to do with them. Now they were open, and here they were, right? What do I do now? Well, the next step was forgiveness. And this is what that looked like for me. So in my classes, I was in my early 40s, and I was studying to become a spiritual practitioner and counselor at the Agape International Spiritual Center. And I began to examine my relationship with my mother differently. I started looking at the feelings, but I was examining my relationship differently from a more spiritual perspective. And one day in meditation, I got a profound realization that, and here's what it was. All I had to do was to accept her, to not try and change her, but to love and accept her just as she was. I allowed myself, I had that little bit of willingness that Jennifer talks about. I allowed myself to accept that she loved me in her own way and that she was doing the best that she could with her own belief system. Now, suddenly, that burden that I was carrying around was lifted. I was 42 years old, and I finally felt my mother's love. It was a radical change in my life. Now, I never told my mother about this change in me. I never asked her to change or be different, or to, be different with me, or to say or change her behavior. I just kept accepting her, and I was grateful for her love. Ho'oponopono. And no matter how it showed up, and miracles started happening. She started sending me cards with notes, little notes written in them about how she loved me. She had never done that before. We started having these authentic conversations, and I started asking her for advice in my life. Our relationship, it developed a beautiful sweetness to it. And she even put a large picture of me playing the guitar up on her dresser where it stayed until she passed. And even when dementia showed up in her life, she would still remember me and deeply tell me how much she loved me. It was amazing. So what does A Course in Miracles tell us about our feelings? Obviously, I had to understand my feelings first and get to them. What we know is that everything we experience, and that means everything, is a temporary learning device teaching us to learn how to love. So how do we embody that teaching? What do we do to not let it be just a mental concept, but to truly awaken to love's presence? Well, first, we begin by feeling what we have created as a substitute for the truth, because that's what we've done, haven't we? We don't deny it. We own it. We feel it. We look upon it, and then we let it go. In my work with coaching actors and in my voice programs, I've discovered that unexpressed emotions are stored in our body in very specific places. We talked about that. It's the chakra systems. And these emotions stay in those areas if we don't express them. We can feel the feelings and know that they will move through us when we do that. Feelings can happen in our body. They are physical reactions that let us know what is going on in our environment and what we're thinking. That's why it's so important to have a physical way to get them moving, not just thinking about it. I think journaling is great, and talking about it is great, and thinking about it is great, but we have to have a physical way to get them moving through our body. And we don't want to do that spiritual bypass to use our mind to avoid our feelings, because then we run the risk of having this undercurrent of unease and unhappiness in our lives. And what I believe we're experiencing right now in our society, right? Everywhere we look, this uneasiness because people are afraid to really address what's going on. Then what happens? We judge others for having feelings of anger or worry or fear, right? Because when we're avoiding our own feelings, it's so easy to become self-righteous. Oh, I got my life together. Why are they such a mess? And worse yet, even than that, we can become complacent, and we run the risk of not feeling at all. We're just afraid of our feelings, so we just decide that it's better to pretend we're okay, that, that's okay, I got it together, we've all been there, I'm good, right? Now, Deepak Chopra's advice is that instead of resisting any emotion, the best way to dispel it is to enter it fully, embrace it, and see right through our resistance. So in helping my clients fully access their emotions, I developed this emotional power and freedom process, which uses our imagination, but most importantly, it uses our voice and sound energy to access the emotions that we want to feel that have been, what I would say, locked away in our body because we've been taught not to feel them fully. We need to have a simple and primal way of accessing them, like when we were kids, that primal way. So the technique that I teach is really so simple that anyone can use it to empower all of their emotions, and it just doesn't take much time to do it at all. I have a client that I worked with, and I'm going to change his name. His name is Matt, and he was in my acting class. He is in his 40s. He has his doctorate in sports psychology. He's a tenured professor, and he's an actor, and he's had this hard relationship with his father, who has been controlling and not respecting him his whole life. And so we went through this, really releasing his emotions, getting in touch with him and all of that. And through our work together, he told me that he finally was able to have a real, authentic talk with his father and ask him to treat him the way he wanted to be treated. Their relationship changed. And it was only because he was able to finally get to those feelings that he was repressing, because it was too, it was too hard to look at. But it really happened in a way. Now, he's like trained in spiritual psychology, and even that did not help him. It had to be some physical thing that we did, and it really worked. Now, let's go back to the Course in Miracles. How else can we embody this teaching? We're going to feel the feelings, right? Let us really not hide from what's going on. The second way to embody this teaching is to look upon your experience with the innocence as a child. One who is learning about love as he or she plays with the toys of this world. Let go of any self-judgment, because you know that this is simply how we're all learning about what loving really feels like. And the third way to embody this teaching is to carry a deep sense of gratitude, which I do right now for my change, what happened with my mother. I'm so grateful for everything the physical dimension has brought to you. A deep sense of gratitude for everything this physical dimension has brought to us. Now, that can feel a little difficult for us because we're asking to see beyond the present experience, but every bit of life is meaningful. So I'm going to give you two things in conclusion. I'm going to give you a conclusion here, but then I want to read something to you that came through me when I was going through a really, really difficult time about 5 years ago. And I asked the Holy Spirit for guidance. I said, "Oh, God, Holy Spirit, I need guidance." And I meditated, and I had this for about 70 days. And I would get my journal out after the meditation and just write what I heard. I just wrote it down, unedited. And I have 70 beautiful teachings that I got, and I'm going to share one with you at the end of my talk right now. But I'd like to end with that when we allow ourselves to become aware of all of our feelings, that which makes us feel good and that which makes us feel bad or uncomfortable, we can stop hiding from them and begin to choose differently. Our feelings then become the doorway to awareness and the guide to our journey back to love. Then, as we allow ourselves to accept what is and let go of thoughts that bring us pain, we can now feel and know God at the center of our being. We know the truth of God because it's felt in our being as love and joy, peace, oneness, abundance, and creativity. So let me read to you the teaching that came through me. This is the Holy Spirit, my I am presence, God, whatever you want to call it, speaking directly to me. And it was the last one I got on day 70. And it's called, I entitled it, I took this out of the teaching, "You are infinitely loved." Dear one, Open yourself to my thoughts today. When everything feels like it is not going right, or even that it is going wrong, and when you are lost in the turmoil of your own thoughts, simply surrender. Let go and feel my love. Just feel it. I am with you always and will never leave you. So just let yourself be open in the midst of everything going on in your life. Still your mind and hear these words. Life is so beautiful. Again, let go. Let these words sink in. Your life is so beautiful. When you have thoughts that seem to resist this truth, keep turning yourself to my thoughts and let my thoughts guide you today. Listen with an open heart. You are infinitely loved. You are infinitely worthy. You are here to express my divine plan, and that plan is glorious. Stop trying to fix everything and be still. Be still and listen. When thoughts of anxiety, worry, or distress begin to enter your mind, turn even those thoughts over to me. I will purify them with my love and grace. Relax and know that I am guiding you. Trust and know that the only way out of your pain is to rest here in my love. This peace you feel now, this is me, and I am with you always. Thank you.
That was beautiful. It was beautiful. Everybody send Faith some love. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you. So blessed to be here today in this community.
And if I can ask you just one question, I know it's a little different, but we have a couple extra minutes.
Oh, we do.
When
Good.
did you do this 70-day process?
Well, it was about, okay, actually, let's see. It was longer than that. It was probably not almost 8 years ago that I was doing that. And what happened for me, I had left a job where I was teaching acting at a really well-known studio here in Los Angeles. And I went out to be on my own and work on my music and my spiritual practice and come out as a spiritual teacher. And it was really scary. I had lost like half of my income. And I was going through a lot of fear and doubt and worry about what I was going to do. I went into like survival mode, and I was journaling and meditating. But when I finally asked Spirit, I mean, one day I was like, I need help here. This is meditating and it's just not helping. I'm journaling, I'm doing all of this stuff. What can I do? I need guidance. And that's when I meditated, took out my journal afterwards. I remember it was like 5 o'clock in the morning. It was still dark. And I'm writing in my journal just what I heard, unedited, just did not change a word. And I got done to the end of the page, turned on the lights kind of and read it. And I went, oh my. These are not my words. And then every one of them is beautiful. I'm putting it together in a book to share because I think that it's, we all have this inner guidance. We all have the I am present speaking to us. And it's just the way it came through me. But everyone was kind of like a little teaching and a wonderful guidance. And I'm definitely going to be doing that this year. But that was what happened. Amanda.
Yeah, thank you for expanding on that for a little bit. I love the way that you said come out of the spiritual closet. I love that. As I feel like as spiritual students, we're all kind of shedding old patterns and stepping into that. So it's nice to hear that that is part of that can be part of the process. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really what's going to change everything in our world. The more that we all are willing to embody, to walk our talk and be grateful, and to also be really kind and generous to ourselves. Because, like I said, everything that's given us, we're on this journey back to love. And everything that's given us in our life is just a teaching, a learning, just like little kids learn how to do what they do. It's no different as adults. We are here to learn how to love.
Yeah. Well, learn how to love. I think that is a beautiful statement to launch us into a time of reflection. So I'm going to invite everybody just to close their eyes. If it's comfortable, to put your hand on your heart. Just take a moment to notice your breath. No judgment, no changing your breath, just notice. Feeling the rhythm of your breath, feeling the rhythm of your breath. Now bring to mind a current situation in your life. Maybe there's a conflict with a coworker. Maybe there's a conflict with a family member. No judgment, no changing your feelings about it. Let whatever comes up, whatever feelings come up, and to be present. Call forth gratitude, allowing yourself to feel this. Being grateful for whatever is present without changing. Noticing the rhythm of your breath without purposely changing it. Has the rhythm changed by itself? Has feeling the emotion of a conflict changed the rhythm of your breath? No judgments, just notice. Whatever came to mind, whatever conflict was present. Have you ever been on the other side of that? Have you ever initiated a fight? Have you ever thought someone was a bad, terrible person? Have you ever spoken unkindly? Tune back into your breathing. Noticing the rhythm of your breath. Allowing whatever is present to be present. No judgments. There's no right way or wrong way. Call forth forgiveness from this space. Forgive yourself for your unkindness. Forgive the distance it created in relationship. No judgments. Allowing to whatever comes up to be present. No forcing, only allowing. Noticing the rhythm of your breath. Noticing whatever feelings are present. Accepting yourself exactly as you are. Calling forth gratitude for this process of healing. Calling forth unconditional love for yourself. Sending out love and receiving it back. Sharing that love with all because we are one in love. Taking one more moment to notice your breathing, to notice the rhythm, accepting whatever is. And when you're ready, open your eyes and come back to present. Now, this is typically a time when we have another song. So,
You want me to?
yeah.
I can kind of sing something. I didn't bring my guitar, but I mean, my guitar's over there, but I'll go ahead and sing a little song. Okay.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. This is from Daniel Namod that I just learned this song. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. So get ready, my soul, my soul. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to the present moment, here to a new beginning, here, and I'm seeing life so clearly now. So get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. So get ready, my soul.
Yeah. I love that. My soul's ready. Everybody give Faith some love for stepping up and singing us a song on the spot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Answer the call is what I always say. I'm not warmed up, don't have my guitar, but answer the call.
Coming out of the spiritual closet, answering the call.
Exactly. Exactly.
Now we're going to do something that makes Sundays with Spirit special and unique. We're going to give each of you an opportunity to share in a small group. We call these breakouts. You don't have to share if you don't wish. You can. Listening with compassion is one of the greatest gifts you can offer. In your breakout, here's what excuse me. In your breakout, here is what you're going to share. We invite you to discuss anything that came up that you heard during the service, how it made you feel. Is there any blocks or being stuck, or is there anything that you wish to express? Taking that from Faith's talk. So, Alana, are you ready for everyone? Are you ready to send everybody into the breakout?
Yes, and you want 18 minutes?
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you.
I'm ready.
All right, bye, y'all. We'll see you in 18 minutes. Okay, so now is the Facebook Live portion. So, Rosalind, would you like to open us up? What came up
Yes,
for you?
I would love to share. This was truly Sundays with Spirit. Having to wing it. Amanda, you did beautifully. Faith, you're amazing. And your voice we knew was great. I always knew you were a teacher and that you were brilliant, Faith, and that you had a lot to share. But I've never seen you teach like you did, be this inspirational speaker. And you're a natural, you're brilliant, and your voice, not just your singing voice, but your communication voice is so spot on to the heart. You're easy to listen to. The message is great, but I didn't want to miss your delivery. Some people are very good actors, and I'm very aware the whole time that they're putting on a performance. So that doesn't work for me. Then I want to know who they are. I want to get underneath. It almost takes away from the message, but you're very syntonic with your message. Your energy, your delivery, your heart went right along with the message. So that's everything for me. Then I can relax and take it in. I don't have to filter through. They're saying this, but I can feel they're insecure. I'm not even thinking, but if it's not syntonic, if it's dystonic, then I'm wondering what the problem is. So yeah, that's so beautiful. And I want to say that the two words that I love the most of your whole talk, because I teach the feelings too, and we're on the same page of feeling all your feelings so you can be free and let them all move through. But the two that I love the most are open and allow, because they're not doing. Forgiveness feels to the ego like, oh, I got to do that. And there's a process and I got to change. And many of even the word gratitude, maybe not for somebody else, but for me, I have to step in. If I have to remember to be gratitude, that means I'm not there. There's something I got to do, or choose again from the course. They're all doing, and we get so bloody tired of being fixed. But when we're open, as you spoke, just being open to and allowing your mother, for example, to be who she was, even if you had never done forgiveness, that would have done it. Because you stopped seeking. They say that suffering is either the result of seeking or resisting, or seeking and resisting. And when we're open and when we allow, it takes care of defenses. Think of it for all the feelings. You don't even have to work on the feelings. If you're allowing and you're open, and it's for me, maybe because I'm older, but I bet other people, raise your hand if you're tired of doing tools and processes and right? Like doesn't matter what age you are, if you've been around the block, you know what to do. And then the doing becomes and almost an irritant, because we're not allowing ourselves, we're not really even allowing, we're helping spirit do its work. We're going to do this thing and that thing. But to me, those are such simple words, open and allowing, and they're not doing, they are welcoming, because welcoming is only open and allowing. It's not, hi, how are you? Welcome, welcome. That would be a doing. It's just, it's just another word for open, allowing, and then there are no no's. Don't do this. No judgment. No, we have so many no's in our heads, right? No, that's unforgiveness. Oh, that's a judgment. Everything's gone. All of those processes, all of those ways, everything happens in that. It's really almost an undoing, except it's not a doing. The allowing and the openness. Those are amazing words, and everybody understands them. They don't have to learn a process. They don't have to learn how do you do the forgiveness letters. You don't have to learn somebody else's radical. They don't have to learn laughing yoga. You don't have to learn anything. Just let go. Let go. And we want to. There's a desire, even if we're resisting. How tired do you get when you're resisting? Exhausting. Oh, just let go. Oh, thank you. I think they're just brilliant words. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. I would say, Rosalind, that was exactly what happened with my mother, is that I was resisting her love, is what was really going on.
Yeah, you were resisting the form she was giving you because you want another form, right?
Yeah, exactly. So then when I went, oh, what if I just allow it to come through? We're so energetically connected that we are one. So then as soon as I allowed her to love me, she felt comfortable expressing it.
And isn't that what we all are longing for? Being allowed to be as we are. And we have these ideas that we have to be something else to be acceptable.
Yeah.
If we really got it that we too were allowed.
Yeah.
That's everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
People think they have goals, they want this and they want that, but that's only because they haven't accepted who they are. Yeah.
I think that when we accept who we are, those things that we do in our life are a natural extension of who we are.
Yeah.
And,
they're the product. They're not the end.
Yes.
They're the byproduct.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
yes, in my song, Stars, I say that line of, what if we are already all right?
Mm-hmm. That's it. That's absolutely it.
Perfect's just trying to break through.
Mm-hmm. Perfect is, yeah.
Perfect is. It's just breaking through them. Like, here it is.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosalind. Such good words.
I knew I had to be here today. I moved a few rocks to get here.
I'm so grateful that you were.
I'm grateful that you're here too, Rosalind. You're like you were commenting on Faith's voice, something about the rhythm of your speech or in the frequency. I don't know what it is, but whenever you speak, like I sometimes even miss the words you're saying because I get into the rhythm. And so like, I don't hear what you're saying. I just feel that connection, and it's wonderful. And as I'm saying this, I'm like, oh my God, I'm telling her I'm not listening to her, but it's not it. I hope
You're
you don't
getting
take it
the
like that.
message, because
Okay.
before I speak, I try to resonate with what the felt message is.
Yeah.
So if I didn't do that, you wouldn't feel that way with my voice.
Yeah. I get that. I like that. I like that.
Mhm.
That resonance. It is a resonance.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Faith, is that what you teach? That resonance in your voice, like how to resonate? Mhm.
Well, it's really about freeing up your voice and using your instrument to vibrate in a way that feels authentic and powerful. And there's so many different things that we do with breathing. Of course, we start with the breath. That is the most important thing. Actually, we don't start with the breath. We start with, and this is interesting, we start with stretching and releasing tension. So surrender, it's like kind of that opposite of having to do, it's releasing. So that's where we start.
Yeah.
Move into breath work, how to really empower your breath, how to open up your body. We have like resonating chambers, like here's your base. Doing a little voice work there.
Yeah.
And then we have our mouth as a resonating chamber. And that's kind of the warmth in your voice. This is the bass, this is the mid-range warmth. And then we have our head up here, which is the treble.
And where does your heart fit in?
Well, the heart is connected to your throat. So it's all connected, right? It's like all of that. So this is the breathing is down here, right? This is our, I was just talking about resonance, right? Right, your rib cage, but your rib cage, your heart's in your rib cage. So as your rib cage is it's not just your lungs, it's your rib cage that's actually vibrating, the bones in your rib cage. So bone vibrates, air in a cavity vibrates. And we want that, but we want to be connected. Your diaphragm, which is connected to your lumbar vertebrae, right? And your breathing, there are muscles that connect right there, travel down your spine and connect to your pelvic girdle. So when you're breathing in right into your diaphragm in the right way, you're actually breathing into all of your chakras. It's all working.
I have never heard it explained like that. Thank you. Thank you.
You are so welcome.
So, Rosalind, I have a question for you. What is syntonic?
When things fit together. So if I say one thing and I mean something else, that would be dystonic.
Mm-hmm.
And you can include the body with that. My body would then be tense because I'd be telling something untrue, but I'm trying to pull that off. And so when you think of like a synonym is like, S-Y-N, a word is like the other. So it's just that your energy is in integration, it fits. There's a word, I don't know if I can think of it right now, maybe Faith or somebody else can. If you're a good person and you're not a habitual liar, if you tell a lie, it feels so dystonic, so contorted and conflictual that you will actually start to believe your lie because it feels so bad. The body and the mind want to be integrated so badly that you'll have to change one or the other to make it fit. Do you have another explanation, Faith?
I don't. That's a wonderful explanation for it. I love that. I would say even if, no matter what's going on in your life, when you're telling a lie, like if you keep telling that lie over and over again, your body wants to resonate with it, like you said. So you do believe that lie. That's what happens to us. I told the lie, my mother doesn't love me. My mother doesn't get me. She doesn't, over and over and over again. And my body resonated with that. So, then generated feelings that was in alignment with that lie.
That's interesting. Last year, my intention was to live honestly,
Mhm.
so congruent in thought, word, and deed. And so not every day, but most days I was reminding myself my intention for the year. And it's amazing, like all of that, what it brought up. Like I was starting to see where like I was thinking something and saying something else.
Mhm.
And putting the focus on that really brought it back in alignment. And that's a hard habit to break. I like to think of myself as I always have thought of myself as an honest person in speech, and when it was an intention for a whole year to really make sure that my thoughts were lining up with what I was feeling and what I was saying, it changed the whole vibration
Yeah.
of it.
That's powerful.
It's
And then
powerful. Yeah.
and then if you take that to another level of honesty, where let's say we're judging someone.
Mhm.
Most people have seen Byron Katie's work, right? And if you're here and your camera's on, raise your hand if you know that work.
Mhm.
Yes, do you know that work? No, okay.
I do. Yeah.
You know it?
I've
Yeah.
heard her name, but I haven't studied her, so I'm not exactly
Well,
sure.
I'm not gonna teach it here, but
Yeah.
it's the opposite in a way and the same as the forgiveness work that Jennifer teaches. That it's the same because the goal is the same.
Mhm.
But she has a process where she turns it around. So you're supposed to judge. You start with making your biggest judgment. That's blah, 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 X, Y, Z. And then she has a couple of steps. And she asks you to, one of them is how would my life, oh, the second one is really important. Can I really know that that's true?
Mhm.
And I really know. Well, almost always, doesn't matter what you say to that. There's a third step. But the reason I was bringing this up is the turnaround. This is where most people can't do it. And so it's a level of honesty that you're bringing up. So let's say this person is so angry. Mary is so an angry person. And then you have to say, I'm an angry person. But if you just say, I'm an angry person and put your name in there, that does nothing. But if you say, where have I done what I'm judging Mary for? And not look literally, maybe I didn't ever do what Hitler did, but I have felt rage. So it's in what form have you done it? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's a level of honesty. Woo. You know, to see every judgment. How do I do that? How did I do that? You brought it up in the meditation. Have you ever been on the other side? But actually more literally on the specific judgment that you have on someone else. If in my experiments with it, I have been blown away when I really willingly ask that question, show me how I do that, because it won't be the same. Oh my God. Then it takes all the air out of your judgment for the other person. Because, you don't want to be with a noose around your neck. You want mercy. So it's as powerful as what Jennifer does. And all roads lead home with that intention.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
The honesty is it's a whole nother topic. It's a whole nother topic.
Mhm.
But it feels like when you were talking about faith coming out of the spiritual closet, that's a way of honesty. That's a way of really showing up as who you are.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yep. Important.
Yes. Franca has her hand up.
I just wanted to quickly offer another one of Byron Katie's questions. And it's probably the one that I like the best. It's, how would your life be if
Mhm.
you were unable to ever think this thought again?
Mhm. That's a great one too. What would your life look
I just
like?
wanted to share that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
beautiful, Franca. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Love
So
that.
everybody is returning
Wonderful.
from our breakouts. And Faith and Rosalind, thank you for such a rich conversation for our Facebook Live.
And you too. Thank yourself in there.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Amanda. Yeah.
All right. And I thank myself too.
Take it in.
So we'll give everybody it looks like everybody the time is where everybody is rejoining us. So we'll give everybody a few minutes. All right. It looks like everybody's back from the breakout. If you had any insights or ahas or would like to make a declaration, please put it in the chat. It is powerful to state what is going on. Any declarations, any intentions, any ahas, any breakthroughs. This is also a time in the service where you can choose to support the Power of Love ministry. You can support them for doing this Sundays with Spirit. Doing this allows us to make donations to our inspirational speakers, our musician, and it allows us to experience the practice of tithing. If you'd like to take a moment and share how tithing has impacted your life. Yeah. When I finally was able to let go of the hold that I had on not having enough, it really impacted my life because I started having more. I started seeing abundance in the sky, in the air that I breathed. Once I let go of the feelings of not having enough, it opened all kinds of avenues in my life, and not just financially. So that's a personal experience from my life in tithing. And if you would like to support us in your own spiritual practice of tithing, we'll put a link in the chat now where you can do that. And let's move on to announcements. Faith, do you have anything coming up?
I just started my group program with speakers, but I'm going to be doing a couple of workshops coming up. One is 7 ways to easily engage your audience. That's going to be a half-day deep dive. And then another 7-week program that's going to be about really being how to be authentic in any circumstance, any situation, how to be yourself. And that's an easy 7-week fun thing that we're going to be doing, deep dive, but fun. So the best way to get to me about that is I'm going to put my email in the chat. And if you'd like some information about that, just email me. And then I will be glad to make sure you get all of that information.
Yeah.
And then also I will be, I work with people one-on-one with spiritual counseling, but also with their voice and speaking skills as well.
Thank you, Faye.
Uh-huh.
And Rosalind, do you have anything coming up that you would like to share?
No, I do have a book coming out, but I'll have the date very soon. So I'm not going to announce it until it's absolutely ready for the publisher. But so, no, I'm good. Thank you. But I wondered if you wanted to make some announcements for the ministry.
Yeah, absolutely. We have Stop Playing Small is starting in a couple of weeks. Another round of Finding Freedom starts later in the fall. And also upcoming, we have our Spiritual Counseling Intensive. So those are 3 classes that are coming up in the ministry. If you would like, and if you would like to book an exploratory call about any of those, you can, we'll put that into the chat. And also you can find that exploratory call button on our website as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And let me see. I'm just looking in the chat right now to see if to see a declaration. Frankie says, I declare my willingness to step out of fear and playing small and being a victim, especially in regards to the situation around my son and his mother. I am willing to pursue the new clarity and listen and manifest the guidance of what is mine to do. All love. Thank you, Frankie, for making that declarative statement. I'll invite anyone else to do that as well. So,
Did we hear back from Ray? I know everybody's kind of concerned about him.
I did. I got a text from him. He got confused about the date, and he was at Agape service, their first service in person, I think, since the pandemic. So,
Well, good to know he's okay.
he's okay. Thank you for asking.
yeah. Perfect. So this is the time that we typically have another song. Faith, would you like to do another a cappella?
Sure.
right.
Yeah. Little agape chant. I'm thankful, so grateful. I am one in the spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. I surrender. I surrender. I am one in the spirit all around me. I surrender, yes, I surrender, and I trust in God. I'm thankful, you can sing with me if you want. I'm grateful, I am one in the spirit all around me. I'm thankful and so grateful that I trust in God.
Everybody give her some love. Thank you for showing up. Thank you so much. So Lana, thank you for being our pilot today. And thank you for stepping up and being our prayer person as well.
You ready for the closing prayer?
I am. Thank you.
All right. Let's close our eyes and place our hand on our heart. So grateful to know in truth that we are Christ. We are one with God and we're one with all creation. Grateful for this service and for all that was shared and for this ministry. We're grateful for all the healing insights that we gained from today's service. We're grateful to the Holy Spirit for the tools to help us move into our true right mind. And we're grateful and thankful to know that truth will correct all errors in our mind. We're offering up all blocks to the awareness of love's presence in our life. We're offering up all our resistance, our old patterns that keep the faults in place, our coping mechanisms, our defenses. We're taking full responsibility for all our experiences and the mindset that we're choosing in any given moment. We're interested in awakening to our true identity. We're saying no to the ego so that we can say yes to God. We are interested in listening only to the voice for God, and we are choosing the joy of oneness instead of the pain of separation. We're grateful to practice acceptance and forgiveness completely and fully. We share the benefits of our healing and our expansion with everyone because we are one. In grace and gratitude, we know it's done. We let it be, and so it is. Amen.
Lana, beautiful. Thank you. Bye, y'all. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you for coming.